God bless Alai. We're back. If you're wondering where you been, Nasty Nate, that's because last week's God bless Alai was a print edition, not a podcast. Released my power rankings, dusted off the old Substack, and now we are back in our normal audio format here, just coming at you a little bit later in the week. And I gotta tell you guys, I'm scared. I'm nervous. Because has Battle Court figured out how to make a 10th season? You know, something I've heard constantly on Sports Talk is the NBA and how to fix tanking. I think you got to look to highlight, guys. NBA, you're thinking expansion. What about contraction? Shrink that league down to 6 teams. You're not going to worry about tanking anymore then. Because let me tell you, it's a close race. Nasty Nate's power rankings. Chargers, number 1. And you know what? Even though the Fireballs have the same number of points of us and they've played one more game day, I'm going to rate the Fireballs number 2. I mean, Chargers, my little blurb about them, they've been the best team all season long. Only one loss on the season at our hands, though. So, you know, if anybody has the right to come back for that number 1, it's the Cyclones. But Fireballs, they've been surprisingly good, pulling themselves up. Strong team. Been impressed with them. I'm going to put them at number 2. Cyclones, even though like they're ahead technically, or the ability to be ahead, because we have a game day coming up where we could pass them, I'm going to put the Cyclones down because we just have not looked right since our hot start to the season. The entire month of March, like the Cyclones have been off the entire month of March. You saw it last week. The show shared a photo, which was a screenshot I grabbed, of like, these are not the vibes of a Clone Cartel team. And that was after the first set of Manu and Hyro playing. That right there, that match of Hyro and Manu versus, I think it was maybe against Rats and Benetrix. Is that the last match they've played against the Devils where it was a game day draw? That was the worst match I've ever seen in terms of like energy. I don't know what was going on with that match. Hyro had several opportunities to try to kill the point and threw the ball hard, but it was just an easy catch in the back. And then all of a sudden the Devils would end up killing the point. So Hyro was not killing points when he had the chance. And there were even opportunities where I was watching like, man, Hyro could be getting this ball and be in like a good position to take a shot, but he's not even trying to get this ball. Like, you know, in my opinion, you got to read if there's a rebote, sometimes it's a weak return. And there was sometimes in that Devils match where there were weak returns where I was like, man, an aggressive front quarter is going to recognize that weak return and go to get that ball in a dangerous position and be set up to try to kill the point. And I don't know, it was a bad performance. Like even Manu, like low energy from both of them. And later in the game day, when Manu and Iñaki won, they asked him like, how are you able to do it? Winning this one, coming back from a bad. And he's like, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all, basically. And it was like, whoa. Clone Cartel vibes. That's why we're at ourselves at number 3. The vibes are down. If you read my power rankings, I talked about this team being leading the league in camaraderie. That was not it, but you heard Mike talk about it. And in the highlight group chat, there's been some messages sent and things clarified, hoping it leads to ultimately for the Cyclones to return to number 1. Hyro's got to get back to form. Like, I have loved the addition of Hyro to this team. I think he's one of the main reasons we won the championship last year. And again, I think he was like the MVP of that championship because in his match when he was with Manu, played very defensively and got the job done. But then when it was him and Stan versus Benetrix and Rock, he was a different player. He was defensive, shutting down Benetrix's kill attempts, but then very effective with the kill shot. And like that shows the potential of who Hyro can be. And just that month of March, like the kills were not there. And I don't know if it was like the previous game was Alex and Manny, and he was trying more lower like kill shots, like some Cortadas. And it felt like against Arats and Benetrix, he didn't even try those at all, really, because Alex was scooping those up. And I think that was just Alex playing an incredible game. But Hyro's gotta find that aggression and kill some points, because on this court, it's a lot harder to play that defensive thing and try to outcatch like an Arats Benetrix team, or try to outcatch I don't know who they like, Nicholas and Lalu, if that's who is the Fireballs Division 2. Like those are teams like that's going to be tough to outcatch them. You got to take opportunities when they arrive. Next team up, I'm going to go Renegades for me as the 4. Like the last 3 teams are all at 4.5, 4.5, 4.5. If you would have asked, if I'd have done this before the start of the week, before the Devils played, they'd be last. But Devils got a big win over, was it the Warriors? And no, over the Renegades. But I'm still gonna keep my Renegades and the Renegades at 4, because Go Cherry. He get it together? He's one of the most talented players. That's why the Renegades are there. I'm going to put the Devils at 4.5. Warriors, or not at 4.5, at 5. Warriors now on the bottom, because although, you know what? Scratch that. I still got Devils on the bottom. Warriors above, because Devils have played 11 game days and they're at 4.5. So Warriors have another game day opportunity to jump them, but still kind of on the outside looking in. But Warriors are hurt, so maybe it's like a tie at the bottom there. And this is, like I said at the top, like I'm scared because Alai Battle Court, they figured it out. Things are just tense and tight the entire season. This team came out. The Cyclones clearly established themselves as a top team. I thought it was Chargers, Cyclones, Devils, but then things changed. And there's something about the last, like, season 8 where it kind of felt in the other seasons before season 8, like you knew who the bottom teams were. And unfortunately, maybe that's from my perspective, because for 3 seasons, the Cyclones were one of those bottom teams. And personally, I felt like, oh, we're just not, but we could never get our way out of that. And the bottom teams kind of stayed the bottom teams. But now, like, it's at one point the Fireballs looked like a bad team. Now it's like, where's this coming from? And the Devils, even though they've played 11 games, like it's 4.5. Like they string together 2 match day wins and boom, you're now in the playoffs, right? Like that's how tight this is. And, if you've been listening a long time, you remember when I made the push for Alai to return to being the true basketball. Basketball can't fix tanking. Alai, the real basketball. Basketball doesn't use a basket anymore. That's gone. That's hoop ball. Alai, they got that Cesta. We're playing with an actual basket, ladies and gentlemen. We're the real basketball, and they figured out tanking to make just a tense, competitive, like, season throughout. Like no one's. Although last year I did tell the Renegades, like, you should tank to help Go Cherry, and it looks like that didn't really help them. But anyway, tanking's not a problem here, and I'm nervous, but I have faith, and I trust, because I've seen what this team's capable of. I trust Hyro, I trust Iñaki, I trust Manu, but it's starting to wear thin. These next 2 game days of Renegades and Chargers, like if if the Cyclones can't come away, like if we lose both of them, that's devastating. Then we're going to most likely find ourselves like 2 game day losses against those teams would find us on the outside looking in with other teams potentially. Um, and if we want to catch the Chargers, then these need to be 2 game day wins. And looking at the matchup with the Renegades, like high road, the only way we get a game day win is if the Hyro from the start of the season returns, because we've got both teams of Hyro, his doubles teams are playing, and we have a Manu Go Cherry matchup. So with kind of the way that Manu and Go Cherry played last time, like I think I mentioned this on, or no, I don't even know if I did mention it. I think I thought about mentioning it. You know what? I did record an episode and I got like 10 minutes in and I just didn't like it and I scratched it. And that's where last week's episode went. And then as you can hear, I'm getting over a cold. I had a really bad cough and it was hard. I'd have been coughing constantly, and that's why I'm coming to you a little bit late trying to recover from a cold, because I just couldn't have done it solo by myself because I was coughing so much. But the Gocherry and Manu played, and there were some times where how that match ended on a Gocherry drop shot. Manu was taking off his cesta before that ball even bounced a second time. And you could see it. The ball bounced past him and he's unwrapped his hands like basically out of his cesta. And it's like, you could have read that and ran and possibly made a play on it. That's in singles. Like, I get it. We don't need Manu to win a bunch of singles matches, but personally, I'd like to see a little bit more effort from my captain than untying your centa before the ball's even bounced a second time. And that was actually a bad drop shot by Gocherry. That ball, the second drop shot was close to the wood, or the second bounce from that drop shot. So it wasn't a well-placed drop shot. It actually probably bounced more than Gocherry wanted, but Manu made zero attempt to get it. And that's a little frustrating to me. I understand like saving yourself here and there, but making no effort to get it, that's got to change for me. But going back to what my point is, you kind of got to just chalk that up to Gocherry. And now if we want to get the 4 wins, we can only afford to lose one more game day, which means, guess what, Hyro? You got to break out of this double slump, because the whole entire month of March, I don't think his doubles teams have won a single match. And now here we are in the month of April. Like, the only way we did get the game day win is if both of Hyro's teams win, honestly, in my opinion. Jedden and Bradley going up against Gallo and Ben, that's winnable for Jedden and Bradley. I believe they played last time and it was actually, no, I think they lost in 2 sets to them. But Gallo and Ben has been a good team. That's going to be a difficult match. So that's one where like, I kind of lean to that. Iñaki and Unda has been a solid team. So I like that there. Hyro and Manu, they've got to take down Gocherry and Arta. And from a positive standpoint, I think like, hey, that is actually a game day where you can outcatch him, because Arta can have some drops, but we're going to need some kills against Gocherry. So that first match is big. If the Cyclones win the first 2, I'm feeling great about us winning that game day, because then chalk up Iñaki and Unda. And I think Unda, although I'll tell you that's going to be Unda versus Arta is interesting, because Unda can make some, Arta can make some shots. Unda has more power. So that's going to be a really interesting Division 4. I'd like to favor Unda in that, but you know where my bias lies there. I wouldn't be surprised if Arta won, but I feel I feel strong about Unda's ability. He's been a good singles player. He pushed Benetrix to 3 sets. And if you saw that and you listened to that match, like Stu and Andrew were kind of questioning his strategy because there were a couple times where like Unda kept trying to take shots that he didn't need to. And it just led to Benetrix like getting those shots and killing it when he could have kept the rally going. And that second set that he won, it was because he was rallying, keeping that ball, pushing it to the inside. And literally, I think every time Unda tried a 2-wall, Benetrix got it and killed it. And it's like at some point, stop throwing the 2-wall. You didn't beat Benetrix throwing the 2-wall, so you got to try something else. But I don't think that's going to be the case with Arta. And then Hyro and Bradley versus Goenaga and Ben. Like again, that Hyro Bradley team has got to get back on it. I think they're 2-4 on the year. 2-4 teams cutting it up. But that Goenaga Ben team, even though they're 2-4, they've been like competitive. They have a 0-point differential, which is kind of like, wow, how do you manage that with 4 losses? Hyro and Bradley have a negative 7-point differential there. So even I'd say Bradley has to step it up a little. Bradley's been dropping the ball a lot, and the team just has to play better in general. I'm nervous. I really want this team to get the point on Friday, but I feel like it's a game day draw that's going to be happening. And then you have Warriors, Fireballs. Interesting thing looking this matchup's going to be happening today when you hear this podcast. Douglas, like Nicholas, it's starting out with a forfeit. Or not starting out. The 4th match right now is currently listed as a forfeit. Nicholas is forfeiting to Douglas, yet Nicholas is playing earlier in the day. I'm curious why that's a forfeit. Why? I don't know. Maybe it's a typo or a mistake that's there, but that's an interesting thing to see. Fireballs, again, anyone is still in there. Like if the Warriors were to end up getting a game day like win out of this, but with that forfeit, like I would favor Douglas over Nicholas, but Nicholas has been really competitive in singles this year. He hasn't been kind of the pushover that he's been in years past. Although this is more kind of like recent that he's been more competitive. Like I believe he pushed Zuleika to 3 sets. He still doesn't have a good record. He's 2-6. It's a bad record, but he's been more competitive. But I guess like, that's going to be chalked up to him. That's an interesting one. Can the Warriors get themselves back into playoff positions with a game day win already with 1 match technically won? And I mean, the other interesting thing of like, I've talked about it Cyclone perspective, Renegades, right? If Hyro can't get it, if the Renegades are looking at us and saying, they're looking at that, we got 2 Hyro teams. They haven't won in a month. We need to take this opportunity, right? The Renegades are looking at us like, we need to win this and get ourselves, right? Technically, they would pass us in the standings, even though everyone has played 10 or more games. We're the only team that hasn't played 10 games. So again, we still have that advantage. I want this team to get back to winning. And if we lose to the Renegades, I'm going to be real nervous going up against the Chargers. So Clone Cartel, get the vibes going. Get this team back. And I want to see 2 game day wins and put the Cyclones back on the mountaintop, number 1 in the standings. I want to see that green arrow. I want to see the Chargers go down. Get it done. God bless Alai.